Dan, are you all ready? All right, great. It is 6 o'clock, and I will call to order the City of Desert Hot Springs regular meeting of the City Council, and the City Council serving as a successor agency to the former Redevelopment Agency Board for Tuesday, March 4th, 2025. This is our 6 p.m. regular session. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Pitts.
Present.
Councilmember Pye.
Present.
Councilmember Voss.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Gardner.
Present.
Mayor Mattis.
Present. Before we have our invocation tonight, I wanted to take a moment, and we're going to take a moment of silence. We're going to put on the screen a picture of a longtime hotelier here in Desert Hot Springs. If you know where the Agua Soleil Hotel is, Sabine Pollerman was the longtime general manager there. She also managed the Desert Hot Springs Inn, and she managed other properties for the investors of that property, the Chins. She unfortunately passed away on February 13th. They had her celebration of life today, and her obituary reads, "A dedicated leader in the hospitality industry, Sabine devoted her life to her work. She served as the general manager of Agua Soleil Hotel and Desert Hot Springs Inn, where she made a lasting impact on colleagues and guests alike. Most recently, she poured her passion into Acres Landing, a project that was close to her heart. Known for her strength and generosity, she mentored many in the industry, always willing to share her knowledge and help others grow." You might not recognize her because she wasn't one of those people that was always out in everybody's face talking about things. She was really dedicated to her duties as general manager of Agua Soleil and the properties that they owned in and around of our city. When you talk about a hotelier and the strength of a hospitality team within our community, you think about Sabine. Listening to some of her colleagues talk about her today, you could see the strength that she brought to our community. She had a very thick German accent, and I made a joke today that you never knew if she was yelling at you or praising you because it was just very strong. But she was very passionate about Desert Hot Springs, and she pretty much was a huge advocate for Desert Hot Springs. She lived here in Desert Hot Springs. She unfortunately lost her life before it was time. So we will take a moment of silence. Thank you. Reverend Matt Dudley, pastor for the Spring Church here in Desert Hot Springs, welcome. You have the invocation.
Thank you, sir. It's good to be with you all this evening. As I was coming this evening to be a part of this invocation, I just kept thinking about how thankful I am for our city and for this, not just this geography, but for the people that helped to make this such a great place to live. And so in that attitude, let's pray. Lord, we thank you tonight for the place that we get to call home, for Desert Hot Springs. We thank you for the many, many years that so many good things have happened here. And God, we know that this is a city like any that has had its challenges. But Lord, we're thankful for the leadership in our town. I pray, God, for your wisdom for them. We pray, Lord, that there would be a sense of comfortability with knowing the right steps forward and the course of action to take. There would be a solidarity within our city as we progress forward together. So Lord, we thank you tonight for this meeting. We pray that you bless it in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, friends.
Please stand, and Ms. Pye, will you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're going to go to the City Attorney's report on closed session. Before we do that, I do need to make two announcements. One, the city manager for the City of Desert Hot Springs, Frank Lucchino, had to take some personal time off the last few weeks, and over that time has decided to retire from the City of Desert Hot Springs. We had to appoint the deputy city manager to the acting city manager during the personal leave time, and as of today, after being notified this week of his retirement, the City Council took action to appoint Doria Williams as the interim city manager. Madam City Attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. That appointment was 5-0 pursuant to Government Code 54957B and 54957A5. And in addition to that, Ms. Williams' agreement will come back in open session during the meeting of March 18th pursuant to Government Code Section 53262.
Thank you very much. Before we approve the agenda, is there any items on the consent calendar that City Council would like to pull? Hearing none, is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on any items on the consent calendars? That would be items 7 through 12. See nobody coming forth, we'll accept a motion to approve the agenda and the consent calendar.
So moved. Second.
As soon as it comes on the screen, please vote.
Motion passes unanimously.
All right, thank you very much. We're going to go to public comments at this time pursuant to the Brown Act. Any person may comment on matters of general interest within the subject matter jurisdiction of the City Council not listed on the agenda. Under the Brown Act, the City Council shall not take action on or discuss matters raised during public comment portion of the agenda that are not listed on the agenda. All comments are to be directed to the City Council and shall be devoid of any personal attacks. Members of the public are expected to maintain a professional, courteous decorum during public comments. I have 3 blue cards. If you're here to speak in public comments on items not on the agenda, you'll need to see the city clerk over there. Dan, raise your hand. This is unusual for us. So out of my 18 years in the City Council, Gerald Soriano has always sat in that seat, but unfortunately he's very sick, and the acting city manager, now interim city manager, forced him to stay home. So Dan is filling in for us. Thank you very much, Dan. Our first public speaker tonight is Leo Sanchez. Leo, when you get up there, there's a button right there. If you just press that, your mic will go hot, and as soon as you start, you'll have 3 minutes. Your timer will be up on the screen.
Hello, everybody. My name is Leo Sanchez, and I want to speak about the short-term rentals. I've been in the city for 2016, and I just bought my second home last year. Before to buy the house, my realtor showed up here in the city just to make sure like my house was in good area for short-term rentals. The person on the desk said was okay. We put the offer on the house, and once we get the key, me and my wife show up here in the city just to make sure everything was okay. We get the okay again. But when we talked with the lady in the desk, she asked me if the house was ready for the license to get the license, and we say no because we want to make some upgrades on the house, which is a brand new pool, solar system in the house. She gave me the advice to wait until everything was done so I can to show up here for my license. And today in the morning, we in the last stage of the pool, and I think we are about to get the PTO for the solar system. But today in the morning, we found out that the house wasn't anymore available for short-term rental, which was a big hit for us because we invest all our savings in the house. The lady I speak by the phone was Kat Palmer. I think is the management analyst, and she told me he wasn't okay in my house to be a short-term rental because she wasn't. You guys changed. I think you guys changed the short-term rental situation, which is I think 500 feet radius, and now that before they get the okay, now I get the no. I just wanna to check if it's something like we can do, maybe I don't know, like being a waiting list or something, or change, go to the past when it was okay, because I know there's Airbnbs across the street, each other across the street. So because before it was permitted, now no. I just want to find a solution. Maybe we can do something about it.
We can't have it back and forth by state law, but what we can do is the city manager's office is taking notes. They'll reach out to you and assign someone to give you a hand.
Yeah, it's just my concern. Yeah. Thank you for your time.
You're
Thank you.
so welcome. Thank you. Matthew? Matthew? All right, we'll move over to Sue Burnside or Burns. Is it Bird?
Sideburns backwards.
Press, yeah, sorry, once it's on, it's staying.
Oh, it was already on, sorry. Thank you for serving on the council. I really appreciate that you do community service and do this stuff. Shout out to my guy Daniel over here. He's helping with my ADU, so. I have a deep, deep concern. I own 24 houses in Desert Hot Springs. I'm a Palm Springs native. I grew up here. I live here. And I just had the worst experience over the last 3 months with the police department. So someone was evicted, threatened, and then protected me. And then they came back and rammed through the gates. And I gave video footage of that to the police. Sorry, it's emotional. And then they came back again and literally destroyed the house. They broke the door down, called the police. Nothing. They brought a U-Haul van back to take their washer and dryer and stuff. Had video footage, called the police. Nothing happened. Then they tried to tow their car away and then called the police. Gave them the information about the tow company, everything. Nothing happened. I've suffered $15,000 in damage on one house. And I've given all the video footage, all the information, everything. I even sent an email to the police chief that was never responded to about what has happened. And it's just not right. Like, this is my retirement. This is what I'm doing for my retirement. And there's just no real action about what's happening. And then last week, some lady rolled up on my property. I guess she was living in the back of the house, courtesy of my rental person, and blew up her cart in front of my house. Literally caught the whole cart on fire. It melted down on the sidewalk. There's still scars on the sidewalk. I've had 5 swatters. I mean, I don't know what to do anymore. It's just really almost impossible to do business here. I mean, I don't know. I just really appreciate you to look into, your police department's response to these things and their inability to actually be caring, and that it's, maybe you want your city to be like a brighter shining star. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Matthew, last call for Matthew.
Good evening. All right, so she's right. The police department's not really doing their job. I was out on a Thursday night, got a bunch of drug addicts on the 7-Eleven right in front of the police department. A coma, just nothing but drug addicts everywhere. But I don't blame the drug addicts, I don't blame the homeless, I blame all you guys. You guys are wicked. And if I'm wrong, please, respectfully, I'm sorry. But you guys are not doing much. You've been here for like 20, 30 years. When's the last time you've been out feeding the homeless or doing anything like that? Get off your pedestal. All right. First of all, Black Power, honor to all the slaves. We're no longer slaves. I'm not a slave to sin. I'm not a slave to you. I'm not a slave to New York. Okay. And a lot of people here, you
Matthew,
vape.
direct your comments towards the
Okay,
city
sorry.
council.
A lot of people vape here, but you say that you care about kids. You're going to build $1 million worth for kids. Okay, people are tagging. There's 2 games called Google's iBot, whatever. Who cares? This is all baby food to me. Okay, you guys are not like the problem. The problem is demonic spirits. You guys are facing actually towards Satan right now. When you guys stand up and face that way, that's towards Satan, that's north. You know what? Israel is this way. I'm just letting you know. So all y'all, you should probably like think about your jobs, because none of you are exempt from being fired. You guys have this job because of God put you here. If it wasn't for God allowing if you think the people elect you, you pray to the devil or whatever, no one cares. God is in control. You guys have these jobs because of him. So you guys probably should think about like your job. Stop vaping so much, because it's not good for you. It's unhealthy. And so if you cared about like the city, you would care about yourself. You would care about your image. And if you're on the street, Main Street, vaping on the Palm Street, everybody's driving by. How is that good for your image? So you're right. She's right. The police department ain't really doing much. So it's your job. And who kicks out the homeless people? You paid $1.6 million for a shelter. Now they can't even stay there. What's up with that? I mean, you mean you're doing good stuff, but then you turn around and you kind of get lazy. So I'm not trying to pick on you guys, but I'm going to show you this real picture real quick. This is the Whore of Babylon. Hold on 1 second. This is a Whore of Babylon right here. Whore of Babylon. You guys are being prostituted out. So you know what? Just try to pray. I really strongly ask you to pray. And stop the witchcraft, and stop all that stuff, because this is nonsense. You guys got literally demonic symbols all over this town. If some of your guys is 666 on your whatever. And all you people out here, I mean, come on.
Thank you, Matthew.
Okay, I'm
Matthew,
sorry.
that's 3 minutes. Thank you.
All right. But God bless
Thank
you.
you,
I'm
Matthew.
praying for you, and I hope you guys
Thank you,
do
Matthew.
better.
Thank you, Matthew. All right. I have no other public speakers with blue cards. Does anybody else in the audience would like to speak? And last call. All right. We'll close public comments at this time. We'll go to the city manager's report.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, City Council. Tonight, we're going to have Jeffrey Buckheim with, do you have updates tonight, Jeffrey? I'm sorry, we have no updates tonight, Mayor, City Council.
It's an item tonight. So you have no updates? Okay. Sorry. Taking a drink of water. We're going to go to mayor and council member reports. I'll start with, I think last time, was it there or there? Daniel, did I start with you last time? I think it was me last time. Okay. I'll start down here. Mr. Voss.
All right. So, let's see. Since the last meeting, I had the pleasure of attending my first airport commission meeting. Absolutely love it. Had a great time, great group of people. It's a lot of great things that they're got planned on with the big projects they're working on over there that I'm excited to be a part of and spend time with them on. I think it's going to be real helpful for our town. They definitely was encouragement in wanting to tie in, the airport stuff with our city and economic development stuff. So that'll be good. Then I also attended the Riverside County Transportation Commission. It was a 2-day workshop that they had in Temecula. That was good. Met a lot of different people there from different cities. And even though a lot of those projects and stuff are kind of more into the central and western part of the county, there was things out this way, one of them being looking at doing a study for express lanes on the 10 through the Coachella Valley and that. But those areas, because of, the fact that we got 70% of our population drives west to work kind of thing, or percentage of them do, that a lot of that stuff is going to be real helpful with them. So it's nice to see that as well. Let's see, then attended the Vista, Montana monthly meeting, had breakfast there, and got to kind of go over a list of issues. I'd like to thank our Mr. Assistant City Manager. Hey, look up, buddy. Okay. I had asked for some questions to be answered, so I would be prepared and kind of have a list of answers from different city stuff. And he did a really fabulous job that I would recommend that those questions be available for other council members with the answers he already plugged in if you're going to do, a neighborhood presentation or something like that, because a lot of it was general, and then there was some very specific near them, but it still was very, very helpful. And they were very thankful for that. So I know I appreciate it. I know the residents there appreciate it. And so that was a great job. Very good work there. Met with the Visit Greater Palm Springs folks, the upper management there, to talk about their stuff. That was informative as well. Then I let's see, what else did I do? Oh, yeah, the Mission Springs Water District, we had the blood drive. I volunteered a pint of blood, or however much they take. That was good. April talked me into going right after the gym, so I went right over there and got my free cookies and soda, or whatever, orange juice, whatever it is. But anyways, that was good. They had quite a few people there, actually, when I was there. I think it was like 4 or 5 people. And then yesterday, which was probably the funnest thing of all of these, is Cabot Elementary. I was a guest book reader as part of this annual event thing they do, and it was kindergarten through 3rd grade. The kindergartners were my favorite of the bunch, but the other ones were really fun too, a little mischiefy and the whole bit. And I really enjoyed doing that and look forward to doing the whole book reading thing again when they ask me. And that's all I got.
Ms. Pye?
Okay, first of all, I want to thank you for taking pictures. I came to him 4 o'clock this afternoon and said, guess what? I want you to do this and this and this. And then he had trouble with the next one, and I said, okay, that's my last one. But I need to give him thanks first. I also visit the Airport Commission. It was my last day, so I offered to say goodbye, and I told him he's much more loquacious than I am, but he has good stuff to tell. On March 20th, no, on the 21st, Councilmember Gary Gardner, I'm sorry, Mayor Pro Tem Gary Gardner and I attended Taste of Soul, and I'm thinking about us saying we're not dates. We're not. And it was a good event, and the person in charge of the lighting thanked the council for offering money for the lights, because it was, to them, it was a serious liability issue for people tripping over, and that is true for the several times that I had been there. So they were very grateful that we had contributed to that. On the 25th, Black History Month, now you can show a picture. Black History Month, I and Frank Gilmore attended kindergarten and 5th grade. Frank particularly talked about kids paying attention. He's a teacher, and he, like him, was very strict, and I just simply told him, pay attention. On March 1, now we show the other one. Just want to tell you this, Desert Hot Springs Women Club had one of their fundraiser, which was a fashion show. But I want to tell you about the senior center. It's not as bad as you think it is. And the senior center danced with Fleet Easton, who is the Prince of Palm Springs, and he has a walk in Palm Springs. You can go ahead and show it. And the person, that's a senior center member. And she loves to dance and just got up and danced.
Before I leave, I want to tell you a little something. And it goes like this.
She does one thing I want you to see. There you go. And her name is Medisa Hapon. And Mr. Mayor, I'm done.
And Medisa sat at my table, and she was very entertaining. Mr. Gardner, Mayor Pro Tem
Thank you,
Gardner.
Mr. Mayor. No pictures of the mayor modeling that blue suit?
I thought that was more interesting.
That was way more interesting.
As the mayor mentioned, I had a chance to go in with him and Ms. Wilms to the memorial service for Sabine Pollerman, who's the manager of the Aqua Soleil Hotel and the other properties they have across the city. Very unexpected death. She's a champion supporter of the city and our spas, and you know, it's really hard to imagine the industry here in town without her. Had a chance to attend the final radio call out for Chief Jim Henson and joined the PD and staff as we saluted him as he literally drove off into the sunset. It was a very touching moment and very emotional for all of us after his 20 years here in town and served the city well, and we wish him well and we'll miss him. My non-date council member Pi and I did attend the annual Taste of Soul put on by the Black Student Union and the African American Parent Advisory Council at DHS High. We've gone every year, I think, you and I, for this thing. And this year's program was rather exceptional. These kids are really talented, and as usual, I didn't get to sample the food because I waited too long. So remember, note to self and anybody else that goes, when you go, get the food first because they run out. Remember, Coachella Valley Desert Mountains Recreation Conservation Authority, which is a mouthful. Our board had a meeting. We dived further into the development of our new ranger program for patrolling the conservation lands here in the city. Everything seems to be on track. We should have our first batch of rangers later this year and have the program starting in 2026. And finally, I endured a 3.5-hour drive to Los Angeles the other morning for the Southern California Association of Governments new member orientation meeting. Excited to have been elected to serve on this board and represent not only DHS but the other Valley cities. And I have to go to another meeting there this week, and I'm taking the train. That's all I've got.
Thank you. Mr. Pitts.
All right, good evening, Mr. Mayor and City Council members. This is my City Council update from March 4th, 2025. Citizens on Patrol COPS meeting. I attended a Citizens on Patrol or a COPS meeting, excuse me. On February 28th, I had the privilege of addressing our city's COPS volunteers. I discussed some positive public safety initiatives that are set to enhance our community, as well as shared some exciting new economic developments, followed by a Q&A session. Our Chief of Police, Shaw, was also present at that meeting, where he also highlighted several positive changes on the horizon. Sunline Transit Commission update. I attended my first Sunline Transit Board meeting on February 26th, and it went exceptionally well. It was a pleasure to meet many of my new City Council counterparts for the first time. In addition, I'm also serving as the co-chair of the Taxi Commission. Here are some takeaways. Sunline Transit, as a public-facing agency and vital transportation resource, is continually seeking to improve the rider experience. One forthcoming enhancement is the introduction of electronic merchant services, which will allow passengers to pay for rides using their credit card or also debit cards. So that's a great move forward on that. My last part, clocks. Clocks spring forward. Just a reminder to set your clocks forward by 1 hour this weekend. Get ready for longer evenings filled with more daylight. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and that completes my update.
Thank you for reminding me. I was supposed to play golf that morning. I might not. I don't know. Or I would have been late or something early. All right. I didn't have a lot going on this last couple of weeks, but I'll start with the Coachella Valley Association of Governments. I represent the city on the executive committee. And the fire chief actually spoke, the fire chief for the county, spoke to the CVAG executive committee about fire awareness. And obviously with the larger fire events within Southern California, there's lots of worries, and he was able to talk about what Riverside County is doing, and it was very informational. The CV Sync. So I know you hear about the CV Link and the CV Sync. The CV Sync is where the Coachella Valley Association of Governments has put together a plan and has implemented it in a lot of areas throughout the Coachella Valley, where they are syncing the streetlights One of the first cities to get this process completed was the city of La Quinta in certain areas around the tennis garden. And they have an actual, what do they call it, a dispatch, not a dispatch center, monitoring center, thank you, monitoring center in the city of La Quinta, and it was kind of a test to see how it would really flow and work, and they were able to move traffic faster the last couple of years, and so it's working really well. In the meantime, there was other sections throughout the Coachella Valley that are being rewired, and Desert Hot Springs is one of them. So you've seen quite a bit of construction along our streetlights throughout our community, and you see new equipment going up on our street poles. I'm not exactly sure if we're going to be in the bigger monitoring center, but we will have a smaller traffic center here in the city. But where I'm going with this is that we will have our lights synced very soon, and then we will be able to control them better in bigger events or events where we need to move traffic better. CVAG has approved a larger monitoring center. So if you know where CVAG is located, meaning the offices for the Coachella Valley Association of Governments, they're right next to Palm Desert City Hall at the Civic Park. That building is being demolished, and that was part of the reason that all these leases are ending and they're moving out of that building. The supervisor moved his office to La Quinta. Other nonprofits and agencies are moving out of there. And the current bigger monitoring center for CVAG is at that location. So they've signed a contract with the city of Rancho Mirage, who has a city, it's funny, their city yard for city of Rancho Mirage is actually in the county area, Thousand Palms area. And they have a whole building within their large corporate yard that they're not using, and CVAG will be now utilizing that as the monitoring center going forward. Not to worry, that building is coming back in a different form. It's going to be their new library in Palm Desert, but it's going to have a large meeting area that CVAG will be able to meet at in the future. The Desert Hot Springs Women's Club, as noted, thank God she played that video of, how do you say her name? It's Medusa?
Yes.
Something like that. She was a wonderful table mate, and she was just full of energy for, she goes to senior center, so I'll say her age is a little bit above mine, just a little bit. But man, she has about 10 times more energy than I do. She was fun to sit with. We saw some other, my wife and I sat with some other seniors from the senior center, and then our assistant city manager, or our interim city manager was there also. Sorry. All kinds of titles going around. We had a great time. If you haven't attended any of the Women's Club's events in our community, I encourage you to. The Women's Club in our community, they give out tens of thousands of dollars over time to our local students that are going to college and junior college, and so it's a really well worth, if you see one of their events out there, please, and want to make a donation, they really do put it to work. It was a fun event. Again, going back to taking a moment of silence for Sabine Pollerman, I just wanted to say, that, again, she was a staple in our community, but one of her pride projects was, if you haven't seen it, is all those airstreams behind the Agua Soleil. That is part of the property, but it's a different experience. It's called Acres Landing, and I don't know, you got to say there's about 25 Airstreams back there right now. They have a few more spaces for a few more in the future, but they're renovating them, and the owners were here today for the memorial, and they opened up quite a few of them to us to walk through. And there are these old Airstreams that have been renovated on the inside, beds, bathrooms, kitchens. And then the outside of every Airstream is its own personal little hot tub. And it's a beautiful property. If you have a chance and you want a staycation, they have opened. I want to say about 10. It might be a little less than that, but they are actually operational now. So awesome opportunity for our community to bring more tourism, and definitely will be something that she's left, the legacy of hers. Little League's opening day is coming not this Saturday, a week from this Saturday. And I just continue to say that. I get lots of inquiries about where do I go sign up. You can check the city's website out. They might still have opportunities for players, but I hope you can all come out and see the opening day. It's a really cool event to see all those kids out there. And lastly, I am not dying. I just wanted to make it publicly known. My family was very sick, meaning we all had colds between COVID and 3 other flus going around, my family each tried to share a little bit of that. My daughter was actually has enlisted in the Navy, and her ship out date was last week, and she decided to stay home for another week and get us all sick. So she got sick, unfortunately, and then she got moved to ship out this week, which was this morning. Yeah, so I woke up last week not feeling well, canceled some meetings at City Hall, and someone took it to social media, and I had a couple kidneys and a lung show up at my front door. They were going to save my, and I'm just joking. But I had a lot of well wishes. It was nice to know that people really did care, and there was a few non-well wishes out there, but for the most part, I'm just joking. No, thank you to everybody that reached out to us. I was not deathly sick. I just had a cold. All right. With that said, we're going to move to our administrative calendar, item number 4, which is the 2025 Desert X Exhibition sponsorship request in the amount of $35,000. Ms. Wilms.
Thank you. Good evening again, Mayor, City Council. Over the past year, Desert X has been working with city staff, as we have done in previous years, to discuss the proposed public art installations and activations that they do here in Desert Hot Springs, but also through the broader Coachella Valley for the upcoming 2025 Desert X exhibition. As many of you know, Desert X creates contemporary art exhibitions that engage with the desert environments through site-specific installations by acclaimed and emerging artists from around the world. So this year, from March 8th through May 11th, Desert X is going to showcase various art installations throughout the entire Coachella Valley, with 3 of those exhibitions being actually in city limits of Desert Hot Springs. 1 will be on the outskirts. We are going to claim it as our own. It is in our sphere. So the first installation, To Breathe Coachella Valley, is going to be located at the site that has actually become very well known for Desert X exhibitions up here on Pearson, between Foxdale Drive and Miracle Hill. There will be a second installation actually up there this year as well, called Ghost Ride. That installation, though, is going to be a mobile installation, so try to get there to view it within the first 3 weeks, because it is going to be moving to another site in the valley during this exhibition. Another installation called Soul Service Station is being proposed on Pearson Boulevard on the corner of North Indian Canyon near Desert Terrace Way. Pearson Boulevard is really going to be the star of the show for Desert X this year with us. And then the final installation that I mentioned that we're going to claim as our own, it is just outside of our city limits, is called The Act of Being Together. That is being proposed by artist Jose Davila, and that's going to also be located off of Pearson Boulevard between Worsley Road and Painted Hills Road. So we're really excited to once again work with Desert X, as we have done in previous years, to get these great exhibitions here in our city. Definitely boosts our tourism during that time, and we'll be doing a lot of social media outreach to encourage folks to stop by our restaurants and eat while they're here. As in past years, Desert Hot Springs Youth will work with Desert X educators and artists through in-person classes, site visits, and individual studio chats. And finally, Desert X, again, as in years past, is requesting sponsorships from all of the cities in the Coachella Valley. From the city of Desert Hot Springs, they are seeking a $25,000 sponsorship for the continuation of this project, which would come out of the Art in Public Places Restricted Fund, if approved. And then an additional $10,000 sponsorship, which would also come out of that fund. And that would actually go towards the closing ceremonies that has historically been held in Desert Hot Springs at Dylan's Burgers and Beer. That concludes my staff report. Happy to answer any questions.
Before we take questions or comments or debate from the city council, is there anyone that'd like to make any public comments on this item? Yes, you may come up, Mr. McKenna. You might have to press the button there.
I have to press the button. Oh, I didn't. Good evening, everyone. Wearing another hat, I represent the southern part of Desert Hot Springs on the Desert Order Agency Board. So I have to say I'm here in a personal capacity tonight. Nothing that I'm going to say reflects the policy of that agency or the board. Desert X, I think it's a wonderful concept. I came here 2 years ago, stood at this podium and said, give them the money. But it is really, really unfriendly to disabled persons. And I have two good friends who come out from Los Angeles, and we try to do Desert X. I spoke to Jenny Gill last year after the meeting. She said, call me and we'll make arrangements. And when I called her, the arrangement was they would get a volunteer with a four-wheel drive vehicle to come and pick up my disabled friends and take them and show them the exhibits. And my friend said, no. That is segregation, and it's specifically not allowed under the Americans with Disabilities Act. So that is not an acceptable answer. Anyway, I took one of my friends, 81-year-old, over to Pearson. We walked up. We parked where you're allowed to park. No vehicles beyond this point, a quarter of a mile from the exhibit. So we got to the exhibit, and he collapsed on the way back. Fortunately, there was a paramedic and a nurse right behind us. You couldn't be luckier than that. So one of them went and got a vehicle, picked him up, and we brought him back. I don't want to see that happen again this year. If they have another exhibit in the same place, you should have some handicap parking near the exhibit, at least within 100 yards of it. My other friend, who walks with a cane, travels at about 1 mile an hour when he's going fast, completely gave up on seeing any of the other exhibits. But I didn't give up. So I went to one on Bob Hope Drive, and here's this nice installation a little bit away from the road. And I said to the docent there, I said, what arrangements have you got to get a disabled person to that exhibit? And he goes, well, we don't have any. So who do you call? I don't know. Right. Now, there's some exhibits you can get to. At Sunnylands, right there, very, very easily accessible. So what I would like to say is this. Give them the money, but attach some strings. If you don't have handicap access, disabled persons cannot get to this exhibit. And they're an important part of the community. Friends of mine, but not just friends of mine. There's a lot of people in this town who have health problems. And I want to, get them involved too. So give them the money, but set some conditions. If I'm back here at this podium 2 years from now, I won't be saying give them money. I'll be saying you're served. This is not an acceptable way to run a public accommodation, and you know that. So let's not beat about the bush. Make them do what they're supposed to do. Thanks.
Anyone else like to make any comments? Oh, I was talking to the public, not you, Mr. McKenna. I see nobody else. We'll close the public comments at this time and open up to city council comments.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This will be my fourth Desert X since I've been in the city. I am continually impressed by everything that they do, and I understand what you're saying, Mr. McKenna, and I appreciate that. And somebody who develops trails and works for developing trails with some of my other duties, one of the things we're always trying to do is find a more accessible trail. Sometimes you cannot build an accessible trail. We couldn't build an accessible trail to the top of Mount Everest, but we could certainly build an accessible trail, and we have up at Big Morongo Canyon, where it's a boardwalk and we can take a wheelchair around it. So I'm sensitive to that, and you raise a very valid point, and that is something we probably should talk to Jenny about in the future on that. But I'm really excited about this. We did some measurements 2 years ago with Visit Greater Palm Springs with the economic impact of Desert X and the number of tourists that came here. And we're always very fortunate for having more installations than any other city. And it has done wonders for exposure to the city, exposure to art. The stuff is really cool. And I was waiting for you, and I was secretly glad that you didn't, Ms. Wilms, show the pictures that we've seen of the concept, because I want everybody to be surprised by them. And half the fun of Desert X is going out on the exploration and finding them and then being wowed by them in person. And so I'm really, really looking forward to that. And I wholeheartedly support this because we have that money accumulating in our Art and Public Places funds, and we've spent some of it on the mural project, which is coming along great. We've spent some of it on this, and I can't think of another better use for it. So I wholeheartedly support this.
Anyone else?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for approval for items number 1 and number 2.
There's a motion and a second, and I just want to make some quick comments. I've always supported this. It's a good event for the region. It really is. And they've really taken Desert Hot Springs as kind of the hub for this project, for this event each and every year. Mr. McKenna, your comments are heard. I won't comment on what you ended it with. I thought it was unprofessional, but we'll move forward on that. But we will work with them to make it accessible. I think that is a proper request. I want to say, I don't know who did numbers, but they've been here before and they've given us numbers. You don't have those numbers, do you? Have who visited? How many visitors?
Unfortunately, I don't have those numbers with me. I can hand it out to the council and even provide it on social media to our residents for previous years.
Okay, that's just always good to show how many visitors really visit these expositions. Man, can't say words today. Anyways, there's a lot of people who come to our town. They'll spend some money. All right, there's a motion and a second. Please vote.
One more comment.
Oh, yes, go ahead.
And March 8th is when they are going to be showing all of the exhibits in the Coachella Valley.
That's it.
Thanks. All right, please vote.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you very much. Move on to item number 5, massage establishments, permits, requirements, and regulations update.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. This presentation will provide an update on the implementation and results of the massage establishment regulations enacted in 2022. So in November of 2022, the City Council recognized the urgent need to address unlawful activities associated with local massage therapy parlors, particularly those linked to human trafficking. The existing regulations were found to be insufficient, leading to the council to repeal and replace them and adopt a more comprehensive ordinance. The updated regulations aim to deter human trafficking by fostering a safer environment. They require all massage establishments not part of hotels or spas to obtain massage therapy establishment permits. Additionally, the ordinance establishes a clear operational guideline to ensure compliance with state regulations and promote professionalism within the industry. To enhance the credibility of services, all practitioners would have to obtain certification from the California Massage Therapy Council, otherwise known as the CAMTC. The ordinance also included strict provisions for suspending and revoking permits, ensuring that any establishment found in violation must immediately cease operations and cannot reopen for at least 1 year. These measures are designed to protect the community and uphold the integrity of massage therapy practices. Since adopting the new massage regulations, city staff has diligently worked to ensure compliance within the massage therapy sector. The updated permit application process now mandates several critical components. To maintain high standards, all non-CAMTC certified applicants must undergo comprehensive background checks, including owners, operators, and managers. This step is crucial in identifying any prior violations or criminal activities that could impact the integrity of massage practices. Applicants must provide a detailed roster of all owners, managers, and massage therapists and the modalities they offer. This requirement enhances transparency and accountability within the industry. The application process includes mandatory lease inspections to verify that the premises comply with operational standards, and property owners must also be informed about the massage therapy activities on their properties. These measures collectively aim to foster a safe and professional environment for massage therapy practitioners and clients. I want to highlight our staff's unwavering commitment to implementing, regulating, and enforcing the new regulations. Each team member has played a vital role in this initiative, and I want to take a moment to acknowledge their contributions. First, we have Kathleen Palmer, our management analyst in the Community Development Department, with 7 years of experience working for the City of Desert Hot Springs, including 5 years specifically in community development. She has been instrumental in our massage establishment permitting process. During the permit review, she's conducted thorough investigations into the backgrounds of managers, operators, and massage therapists associated with these establishments. Moreover, she's gone above and beyond to uncover multiple sexually explicit advertisements linked to massage establishments and partner locations. Her diligence and attention to detail have been crucial in maintaining the integrity of our regulatory framework. Next, I'd like to acknowledge Tyler Messer, our code compliance supervisor. His training with the CAMTC and his extensive experience in permit revocation procedures have proven invaluable. Tyler has played a critical role in conducting permit appeal hearings and ensuring our processes are fair and transparent. Lastly, I want to highlight Officer Linder Human, who has been an essential part of this initiative. She is actually the person who brought these issues to me and played a key role in revamping the entire process from amending regulations to developing an inspection program. With over 20 years of experience as a code enforcement officer, she's dedicated the last 4 years to serving with the City of Desert Hot Springs. Her extensive training with the CAMTC and her collaboration with the Riverside County Anti-Human Trafficking Task Force has equipped her with the necessary skills to lead our enforcement efforts regarding massage establishments. Her leadership has been crucial in ensuring that our regulations are implemented and enforced effectively. So since the implementation of the new regulations, the compliance staff has conducted 18 inspections to ensure that both state and local standards are being met. These inspections are essential for maintaining high-quality service within massage establishments. Additionally, city staff has processed 14 permit applications, carrying out thorough investigations into the backgrounds of owners, operators, managers, therapists, and their advertising practices. Notably, 5 of the 14 applications were denied due to failed background checks and violations of regulations against sexually explicit advertising, which is strictly prohibited. Furthermore, 2 permits were revoked following serious violations, including the operation of massage services without CAMTC certifications and associated charges of sexually explicit crimes. These actions demonstrate the city's strong commitment to enforcing regulations and ensuring that only qualified individuals operate within the massage therapy industry. So since 2022, our primary goal has been to improve the operational framework for massage establishments in our city. The updated regulations emphasize the integrity of massage therapy profession and our commitment to public safety. We've implemented thorough inspections and strict permit requirements to deter illegal activities and ensure a safe environment for practitioners and clients. Consistent enforcement of these regulations is essential for maintaining community trust in the safety and professionalism of massage therapists. That concludes my presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Ms. Newsom, thank you very much for your report. Always very informal, informational. One of these days I'm going to get words right today. I got this cold, and it gets in the back of my throat, and no more excuses. Mr. Gardner?
Oh, again, thank you, Christina. That was, I can't tell you how pleased I am to see these results. I remember when we adopted this ordinance, and we did have to, and your staff did a fantastic job of working with our spa hotels to make sure that they weren't inadvertently caught in this. The numbers that you presented were startling in a lot of ways. 18? I can think of a couple that I've driven past, but 18. But you've done a lot, and you and your staff should really be commended for the hard work that you did on this. And this is one of those times when you're sitting on a city council and you're making decisions and you're enacting ordinances, and then a couple years down the road you get to see the results and you went, yes, we did the right thing. So thank you. It was great.
Anyone else?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
So of the 18, are those like storefronts, or are they like home occupation and or storefront?
So the original, at the time that we enacted the regulations, there were 8 standalone massage establishments not associated with hotels or spas.
Okay.
The 18 inspections and 14 applications are the product of, one, the initial 8 applications coming through, and then as people were denied or revoked, subsequent applications following those to go into the same locations. Most of those permit applications were also denied.
Oh, okay. And then the only thing I wanted to say is I'm really aware of all 3 of the staff members, and I have to say that we're very privileged to have the quality of code staff that we have with our city. They do a fantastic job. I know all 3 of them at different levels, just for my participation on planning commission and involvement, and it's a team that I can go home and rest easy with.
Thank you.
So it's really nice to know that. Please let them know that at least I appreciate it. I think the rest of the council does as well.
Absolutely.
Anyone else?
I was going to repeat what he said, so I will. And I also want to thank Ms. Human for bringing that to your attention.
Thank you.
All right. Well, this is a receive and file, so there's no action needed at this time. So we'll move to item number 6, mid-year budget adjustment. Did I take public comments on that one? All right. I apologize. We'll receive and file. Did anybody have any public comments on that item? Okay, I apologize. Item number 6 is the mid-year budget adjustments for the 24-25 fiscal year. Mr. Buckheim?
Yes, thank you and good evening. So here are our mid-year budget adjustments. We do budget adjustments for continuing day-to-day operations as we find we do adjustments to revenue and expenditures as we get additional information. Sometimes there's changes in costs, sometimes there are emergency repairs, and we have unanticipated events, and we also account for changes in capital projects. So for this, for the remainder of fiscal year 24-25, our consolidated general fund revenue adjustments, and this includes general fund as well as public safety fund, we have over $2.1 million in increases in revenues. We have $161,000 in property tax. Most of that is due to the actually tax increment trust fund from the former RDA. So as our property values increase and we have gotten rid of most of our obligations from the former RDA, more of that money comes back to the city. The sales tax increases, that is due to Measure P. This is what we're expecting to get for the remainder of the year for the Measure P. Our retail cannabis tax is not doing well, so we're going to have to make a downward adjustment. And then due to the additional development within the city, our plan check and permit fees are going to see a good size increase. We also have an increase of over almost $400,000 grant revenue. That's actually from grants from, we already expended the monies in previous fiscal years. And also because of the additional development, we're expecting additional money in utility user tax. And the other revenues consist of other fees and fines and fees that are already exceeding budget estimates for this year. So which makes a $2,179,218 upward increase in revenue adjustments. Unfortunately, we have to make some expenditure adjustments. Some of them we have in salaries and benefits. That includes an administrative assistant for animal control, increases in our workers' comp insurance, mainly our reserve with PERMA. We're using that, and as well as the annual PERS side fund payment was much higher than we anticipated. We anticipate some savings with the city attorney due to changing firms and going on retainer rather than true costs. The increases also includes increases for the hub. That $1 million includes what council approved to use reserves for. Fortunately, with the increases in revenues, we're no going to have to use reserves for that. Administrative services, the contract with Monarch, as well as some IT licenses. We have public works. Because of some of the extra development, we're having extra city engineering costs, so we have to increase those, as well as some building repairs and maintenance as our buildings are getting older. We are going to have some savings in fire service. Sorry, Chief. That is because we actually the ramping up for staffing for the new fire station hasn't been going as quickly as we'd like. So we'll be able to make some savings for this year. Doesn't mean there'll be savings for next year though. And then other operating expenses and the transfers out represent a transfer to recreation for some more equipment and repairs to the building, as well as transfer to citywide landscaping maintenance district for some park repairs. So all this means coming out for the general fund. So for the fiscal year 24-25, the original amended budget we amended in last May, we are going to have a over $36,000 increase to the fund balance. With these revenue increases and expenditure increases for this mid-year budget adjustments, we are now going to have over $77,000 in addition to the fund balance for the consolidated general fund. Not a lot, but it is a little bit of a cushion. So we're estimating our ending fund balance for the general fund to be not quite $7.6 million. We have some other restricted funds, some changes in restricted funds. You measure A, abandoned vehicle abatement. Debt service fund, that says 13 million, there's actually no additional expenditures. That's actually an accounting move. We are just moving the remaining proceeds from the 2021 bonds from the debt service fund to the public facilities capital improvement fund. It's more of an accounting move. That's something where it belongs there rather than sitting in the debt service fund. We're going to have some increase to the vehicle replacement fund. That's for insurance recoveries to replace some vehicles, as well as to purchase some new vehicles. We have some needing for like the recreation van and for code enforcement. Capital improvement fund, we've gotten, since we've received several grants for capital improvement, such as the clean grant for the Hacienda Avenue improvement. We get the increased expenditures for those. It also includes the health and wellness fund, like I've said before. That is that for some equipment for the gym. And then we have the public facilities fund, improvement fund. That is for increases for costs for the fire station as well as the PD Annex building. ARPA and the street repairs, those are just the final, some final payments for the street repairs and cleanup from the storm. Citywide landscaping, it's for some park maintenance. Housing Authority Fund, that is actually for hire a consultant to help us catch up on our SB 341 report. And then the CV Violent, the gang task force, that budget wasn't set up this year, at the beginning of the year, so we're now using it as part of the mid-year adjustments. So that is my presentation, and I am available for any questions.
Thank you very much. We'll take public comments first. Would anybody like to make any public comments? See nobody coming forth. We'll close public comments. Anyone?
I have questions.
Yes, ma'am.
One question is regarding the health and wellness. There was 8,000 in donations. Can you tell me about that?
Yes, so that is coming from the Inspiring Minds program, which is it's through the Azure Palms Hotel, where the guests have a voluntary 1% to their bill to be donated to the recreation center for the Inspiring Minds program, which is basically taking the kids as part of the program out to different art shows, venues, activities that they normally would not be able to see. And so that $8,000 is what we've received so far this year.
Okay, and they did go on one trip already.
I believe so.
They've actually gone on several, but they recently went to the aerial tram, and we have 2 for spring break scheduled, and we have 4 for summer scheduled.
Okay, thank you. Also, health and wellness again, what is the balance in the Furby Legacy account?
So that is, we have $455,253 in that account. These budget adjustments, we are planning to use $160,700 for repairs and improvements to the pool, which would then leave a balance of about $294,000.
Okay, thank you. I'm just going to jump in here with this. The mayor has appointed myself and Councilmember Pitts on a subcommittee. It's an ad hoc subcommittee, and she and I and 2 members, resident members, one is that Councilmember Pitts has appointed, and her name is
Florence Angel.
And the other is Robert Rowe. And we're just going to be drilling down. But the council is responsible for any adjustments or budget, period. We're not responsible for that at all. We're just going to be asking questions. And I just want to say, with Jeffrey, can't always pronounce your last name, so pardon me. I have full faith in him. His first audit, he passed remarkably. Linda Kelly gave him good guidance, and in our last audit, we met with the auditor, and I asked her the bottom line, what are the exceptions? And she said to me, oh, you just go straight in. I said, yes, what are the exceptions? And there was no exception except for one which he was not responsible for, and that is the accounting software, which is which is in the process of being.
We're in the process of looking for implementing a new software.
So that's in place, and I have full confidence in him. And one of the things that he's going to do, our budget, personal budget, is different than municipal budget, and he is going to give the subcommittee a summary of municipal governments, and so we'll be drilling down on that. But again, the council will be the authority on the budget, and I recommend the motion.
There's a motion. Is there a second? Jeffrey or Dan, can you put up the slides again and just go back to the operational adjustments? Just wanted to point out real quick one thing. Keep going. Keep going. That slide there. The consolidated general fund. Looking at the revenue increase and the expenditure increase, it's almost a wash, correct? Would that be? Okay. So we're not really changing much in this mid-year budget cycle?
No.
Okay. Just wanted to clarify that. Thank you very much. Great job today. This is something that we do on a regular basis, sometime between February and March, get the mid-year budget adjustments done. Ms. Pai is speaking to the fact that we do have a 2-year budget cycle coming up, and there's a subcommittee set with 2 citizens of our community to oversee and be transparent on the budget process. Each council member will get meetings with the Administrative Services Director and our City Manager, and we'll have a budget to present sometime in May-ish, June, May-ish. I don't want to hold you guys to anything.
Mr. Mayor, I know one of the comments last year had been mentioned that the public didn't know when we did our public hearings, or they weren't aware of that, or that we didn't even do them. And so if we can just kindly remind, publicize those, maybe get those out a little bit, and let the world know that in fact we do that 4 times, I think, before we actually approve it or something.
And depending on the past, most of the time we will bring the budget before council once or twice before, and give them the chance to look at it before we approve it, usually the first meeting in June.
Right.
So we'll bring it like a couple times in May.
So at least 3 times that there's ability for a public member to peruse through it, comment, that kind of thing.
Yes.
Correct, okay.
And we will keep the public hearing open from one meeting to the next, so if anyone wants to make comments after reviewing the budget, they can. It's not an easy document to go through in just a short period of time, so if they want a couple of weeks to check it out, they'll be able to do that.
Perfect.
All right, we have a motion and a second on the table. Please vote.
I don't know how that's happening.
Motion passes unanimously.
No items were pulled from the consent calendar. Do we have any further public comments from anyone that didn't get to speak at the beginning of the meeting, would like to speak now to the City Council? See nobody coming forth. We'll close public comments, and before we adjourn the meeting, the Planning Commission will meet on March 11th here at 6 p.m., the Public Safety Commission on March 13th at 6 p.m., and the City Council will be back on March 18th with its second meeting for the month of March. We are adjourned.